Just wanted y'all to know that I am going to be at PWX in Winston-Salem this Sunday. Should be a big show. I'm not in a feature role, or anything like that. We got a lot of really good guys coming in. A lot of real big guys coming in. The Young Bucks. Everybody likes the Young Bucks. Those guys are coming. And I haven't really gotten a whole lot of sleep the last couple of weeks. Really, in a while, been sort of agitated, trying to, I gotta go to bed for a little while, and I get up, and then I wake up, and I'm thinking, and I'm just angry, and I don't know what it is that I'm so angry about. Start thinking, I'm like, well, I'm where I want to be, I'm doing what I want to do, and I must not be. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm missing something, And there's a great quote. Friedrich Nietzsche said, "It's not when the truth is dirty, but when it is shallow, that the enlightened man is reluctant to step into its waters." And wanting to be an enlightened man, wanting to feel like I understand something about the human condition, or at least my condition, that I understand the particular sort of mental illness that I have enough to get that. I'd like to think that this pro wrestling thing isn't shallow, but rather that it is, maybe to the outside eye, that it's base, that it's dirty, that it's physical, that it's bloody. That it's something raw and there's some truth to it, that it's worth diving into. But I keep feeling like it's so shallow, because I can't help but feel like maybe I'm just a little bit too different to be the guy people want to look up to. Maybe it's just a little different. Maybe those 4 years I spent in libraries studying philosophy, maybe those years I was the president of the philosophy club and in the International Honor Society for Philosophy, studying Sartre, staying up all day, like staying caffeinated in the library, typing feverishly things that no one would ever read. Maybe I spent too much time doing that, or maybe I spent too much time writing music, or maybe I spent too much time training to be a pro wrestler. Maybe I've taken it a little bit more seriously than my peers. Most of the guys, on the roster up here, I don't know if they've trained as much as I have. I've wrestled, I'm not saying, of course, that I was the best, but I wrestled in high school, amateur wrestling in high school. I did a little catch-can wrestling with John Strickland. John Strickland's the founder of the Billy Wicks Foundation. I'm sure there's a lot of guys that when I talk about people like Billy Wicks, they don't know who I'm talking about, because he wasn't in that era of old timers that everyone likes to talk about. He was back in the days of the shows. Like when I talk about that sort of thing, I talk about real wrestling and the techniques, it makes me seem a little odd. Just a little odd. There's a good back to philosophy, and this isn't going to be a short video. I'm not trying to, give you guys something exciting to watch. I just want to be real for a second. In The Republic by Plato, he says, what if it was a democracy on a ship to decide who was going to be the captain of the ship? He said, wouldn't the person who was most suited to be the captain of the ship seem a little odd? Wouldn't he peer off into the sky, looking at the stars, studying the constellations, always knowing where true north was? And wouldn't he just seem a little odd? Because instead of spending all his time worrying about what he was going to do when he got back to land, he was worried about the business of navigating that ship. And he would seem like an oddball. And he wouldn't win any popularity contests. So in the event that sailing that ship became a democratically elected function, the man who was best suited to run the ship would be nowhere near the helm. And I'm not saying, I'll let y'all draw the connections there, but I feel I'm a little goofy because, I have a lot of passion for wrestling, and I've suffered a lot for wrestling, and everybody has. Everybody does it. George, every week at training, he says, if we thought about it, we'd all just go home. And for some reason it's not that easy, and that's why I want to say that it's not this shallow enterprise. I want to say that there's some art to it that I don't understand page one of it, that there's so much more I could learn about wrestling, and about the storytelling and what I feel like it is, and what I really feel like it is about wrestling is there's a struggle that everybody goes through every day. And I feel like when you get behind a wrestler in the ring that's going through that same struggle and they can overcome, that's what everyone wants to do. Everyone wants to overcome that struggle. And it just would break, it would break my heart for that story not to be told that way. And I feel like, I don't know why, maybe it's this particular sort of mental illness that I have, but I feel like I could be the person who can make that comeback, who can withstand that suffering. A little while back, I guess it's been a year and a half ago, I had to miss a little bit of training. I went to, not because I was injured, but, I got a call. My mom was dying and she was going to be in the hospice care, and so I knew it was that time and had to come home. And so I went home and I sat with my mom while she died, and actually it was probably one of the moments in my life where I felt like I was actually living right, because whereas other people were struggling to put their grief into words, I felt like the language I had learned through philosophy and through music and being able to play songs by my mom's side as she was dying was something that helped me through that and made me feel like there was something to what I was doing. But when the grieving was done, and I guess it's never truly done, but when that specific length of time from going home for her hospice to when she died, when that was over, the first thing I did was I drove back, and I was in a match that Friday night. And that, to me, is, anything that can make me do that, anything that can make me feel strongly enough about it to show up and do it, anything that could help me work through the grief that I had and to work through a lot of things in my life is worth doing. And that's why I'm there.